All right, so check this out. We've all heard, oh my gosh, you got to be in early. If you're not in early, it's too late. You can't make any money. Well, check this out. This couple I'm about to interview, they're in a company that started in 1958. They've been in there for like 9 years, and you're going to hear how they've succeeded massively, what they do, how they do it, as they're building as a couple. This is going to be an epic interview. You want to stay tuned. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up, my fearless networking friends? Todd Falcone here, back with another fun interview episode today. As you've noticed, the last few months, I've been grabbing people mostly involved in the network marketing profession and just kind of picking their brains and digging in and asking them questions as to how they have succeeded in the network marketing space. And so today with me, we've got Allan and Nicole Blain. Welcome to the show, you guys. What's up? How are you?
Todd, man, it's great to be here with you. Looking forward to this for a while. We've been it took us a little time to get our schedules aligned, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We are grateful.
Yeah, no, this is going to be super cool. I'm excited. Like Allan and I met, like we're trying to figure out, like right before we started recording this, like way back in the day, like I don't know, probably over 15 years ago we connected, and I think you were a former cop, right? You were a police officer for a while.
California Highway Patrol for 5 years back then in our 20s.
Okay. Wow. That must have been an interesting little job for a while. I mean, I honor the police because they're getting so, I don't know. I mean, there's so many anti-police people these days, but good for you. And so let's do this. So first of all, I don't always interview couples, but this is amazing. I'm glad, Nicole, that you are here, and I know you guys build a business together. So let's start kind of at the beginning of like your network marketing journey. Like, how did you get started in network marketing? Was it online? Was it a person? What was the initial kind of like pathway into the space?
Yeah, so it started with me. I had some major health issues in my 20s. And so I was, trying to find a good product, and I tried a lot of different products and nothing worked. And so I came across this woman's magazine and it had this lady's story. And so anyways, had a 1-800 number, called it, and the rest is history. Got on the products, and it just, revolutionized my health. And so that's where it started. I didn't even really know what network marketing was back then. I just remember getting our first paycheck. It was probably like, I don't know, $27.
This was 24 years ago.
Yeah.
For context. The year was 2000.
Yes,
we were like 28 years old at the time.
Yes. And I just remember getting a paycheck, and I'm like, look, Allan, what is this? And his family had been in network marketing before. And so
like his cousin, couple cousins.
He was familiar with it. And so anyway, so that's where it started, because it got him thinking like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So, and I'll let you share the rest.
So then, that piqued my interest, right? And especially she just organically, we signed up as a distributor just to get the wholesale price on products. That was the only reason. There was no, VIP customer program or anything like that back then. So it made sense. Spend $49 back then, get the products, at wholesale, blah, blah, blah. So she starts having great results, starts sharing with family and friends, not to build a business because she didn't even know there was really a business. And the checks start rolling in. Well, $27 didn't really catch my attention, but a month or 2 or 3 later, a few $100 or whatever it was like, maybe there's something to this network marketing thing. And so we dabbled with the business for a couple, 3 years back then. I mean, I say dabbled. I mean, we were making about back then, I think $7,500 maybe residually a month, which I guess that's over 10 grand a month in today's dollars, maybe more than that. So we thought it was great, but we didn't know what we were doing. And we didn't understand network marketing. We didn't understand leverage. We didn't understand duplication. And what we really created was a 10-hour-a-day customer service job. And I'm like, Nicole, I didn't sign up for this, man. I'm sitting there spending more time talking to people about female issues on the phone for 10 hours a day than I'm like, I really don't see myself doing this long term, So we got out of the business back then, and didn't get back into the business until 9 years ago. So a little
Yeah.
stint 24 years ago, and then picked it up 9 years ago again.
Yeah, but just
Yeah,
consistent
'cause-
product users for that whole time. So
Mhm.
And how cool is that to build a, $7,500 a month check, but obviously all those customers, customer service issues, dealing with all those people. And because I remember, Allan, you and I met like really, or I think pretty early on in, that initial wave. And then I remember because like we lost contact for a number of years and you were out of the business. And it was interesting. Like, I just don't forget people. Like I remember like way back in the day when we had conversations, I always enjoyed our conversations, always got along super well with you. And then I don't even remember when we reconnected, but like, okay, cool. You're back in the game. And in a few minutes, I want to get into like, how long your company's been around, because there's like kind of an interesting little fallacy around, okay, you got to be in early, you got to be the first in if you're not in the first couple of years. So I'll save that for later, just a little tease for
Yep.
everybody. But
Love it.
okay, but by the way, what when you started in this first company 24 years ago, were you a CHP then? Is that what you were doing?
Yes. Right. Yes,
Okay.
I was.
Yeah,
I
he
was
He
CHP.
was
Sure enough.
Yes.
Yep.
And Nicole, what's your like work background prior to network marketing?
So to let you know, we have 6 children, and my work background, I've always been a stay-at-home mom. And so I actually, when we started the business, I was homeschooling 6 children.
Wow.
Yeah. And he had a full-time job. So
Wow,
we
that's
were really busy. We were really busy. And then, yeah, other things happened.
yeah,
But we could say
that's
that
kind of
for
interesting
later.
because you were like homeschooling before, like we almost need to homeschool now. Like I can go. I know we're like we're on the same wavelength in terms of our views on a lot of things. So, but yeah, like now, like the schools, like public school systems, I would, if I had kids in school right now, I'd be like for sure homeschooling. So,
Yeah. 18
so
You homeschooled for 18 years.
Yeah.
dude,
Our
that's
6 children.
amazing, man. I mean, how beautiful is that? And you guys have been together for 32 years.
Yeah. Just about September 12th will be 32 years.
We
Yeah.
actually met when she was 19 and 5 days old in college, 5 days after her
Yeah.
19th birthday. And we were married 5 days after her 20th birthday.
Mhm.
And that
Very
was
young.
almost 32 years ago here in a couple weeks.
Man, I think it's just such an amazing thing to have couples stay together, and you guys met early. I know you're happily married and you got an amazing family, an amazing success story in business. And so it's crazy. Like people treat like marriages these days, like it's a 5-year renewable lease, it's like, oh, we'll see how it goes in 5 years, see if I want to renew this thing. And I know it doesn't come without its challenges. I mean, Carla and I have been together for 31 years and we're in a better place today than I think we've ever been as a couple. And I'd wish for more couples to figure out how to happily, make it and be together, because I just think it's a great example for other people to follow. So good for you
Yeah.
I
guys.
agree with
And
that.
isn't that the way most people treat this? And speaking of network marketing, I mean, isn't that the way most people treat the business? Yeah, I'll give it a try. Like you don't give marriage a try, nor do you give network marketing a try. You either do it
All
or
in,
you
or-
don't, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And in fact, I literally just got done doing a training video along that subject matter about how people come in and they give it like 2 weeks and like, okay, I'm not making money yet, I'm out of here. So that transition, like from making $7,500 a month, did you continue to earn from that company? Like, what caused that transition to go to you guys were earning great money. Obviously, it was taking you 10 hours a day to service the customers and whatever. But like, what caused that transition for you to be out of the profession for a bit?
Yeah, and our company that we're with today, 24 years later, is that same company for all of your listeners. But back then we as a company, our company was just way behind where other companies were at when it comes to marketing, branding, websites. I mean, we didn't have like an auto ship or subscription program until years and years later when everyone else had that. So basically when we got out of the business and just went back to just being raving fans of the product, product users, the company still had no auto ship. We had we moved across the country and our cell phone numbers changed. So the only way people placed orders was, for the most part, by contacting us. We moved across the country, got out of the business. There was no subscription. They didn't have their own website. They didn't even have a way to contact us, most of them. And so over the course of 15 years or whatever, 12 years of being completely out of the industry, out of the business, our income fell by 2015. I guess that was 15 years later. Our income was like $500 a month. So somehow, between our orders and a few customers that somehow, I guess we're calling an 800 number to the company to place random orders, we were making $500 a month. And I went back into construction. I did a little bit of police work for another couple years with a PD in Atlanta. I mean, we were just kind of, and then I went into construction. I ended up getting laid off. I mean, at 30 something years old back then, I was unemployed, single income, out of work, 3 kids at home. I mean, broke as broke could be. And that's kind of where we were 15 or so years ago. So we, people think, well, it's always been this way. And we've always had success. No, we've been through some really challenging times.
We were on food stamps at one point. And to
Wow.
shop at Walmart was a treat for me to be able to buy the girls' dresses. So
instead of buying secondhand at yard sales or whatever. So
that's what I did. Yeah.
We've had some highs and some lows over the years for sure.
So getting back into it, we had a huge why. So, and then that's when social media started happening. And so that kind of perked our interest. It's like, oh, okay. And then there was changes with the company.
Yeah.
So, and I want to cover this as I kind of like tease people. So just so you listeners, viewers, or, I get this is going to be on both audio and video. Like just so you guys know, the company that they're in has been around since 1958. Okay. 1958 is the year their company was founded. So those of you that are like, oh, I got to be in like the newest, hottest, latest, greatest thing. Unfortunately, most of those deals never last anyhow. Some of them do, but you guys are actively building, continue to build. You have a very successful, massive organization in a company that was founded in 1958. I mean, that's older than me. And I'm not going to say the blank D word to describe myself because I just can't use that word, because then all of a sudden your cells go, oh, you must be. And now you got to go down the stairs sideways or something. So, but the company is mature. Okay. They've been around for a while. So, I mean, like, let's just talk about that for a second. I mean, because I'm sure you've dealt with that. Like, is it too late? You guys have been around for so long. Like, I mean, do you deal with that ever with people, or?
Probably a lot less than most people might guess. I mean, I know that's a prevalent philosophy and thought out there, but we don't deal with it as much as most people think. And you're right, Todd. I love that you brought that up, because we launched our business in 2015, 9 years ago. And so at that point, the company was, if I'm doing my math right, 58 years old, I think, 57, 58 years old. And it's not like we started with much. We had about a $500. I think our 1099 from the year previous was like $600. I'm sorry, $6,000. So I think, what is that? $500 a month on average. So it's not like we started at ground zero, but pretty close to ground zero, right?
Very close.
And very close, and we had a 6-figure, we had an $8,000-$9,000 a month income, residual income. That's not with any, bonuses or anything like that. Within 16 months, part-time, because when we launched our business in 2009, she still was homeschooling our 6 children, all boys, except for 5 of them, by the way. Best joke I got, Todd. The best joke I got, man. So anyway, she was homeschooling 6 kids. She had her own full-time job. I was running a $40 million construction business that we'd started. I didn't get into this business for the money. I took a huge pay cut when I walked away from that, making only, 8-9 grand a month, which is what happened. 16 months, part-time. We build to a 6-figure income with a 58-year-old company, definitely not the ground floor. Companies in 50 some global markets, doing $250 million a year in sales. So it's not like, it wasn't new. And so, but anyway, and then we went full time in 2016, but that was kind of where we were at when we got started in 2015.
That's awesome. So you guys have literally only been with one company. I mean, you were there, you took a hiatus, and then you came back to the same company. So, and that's, I mean, you guys are like a double rarity, like being married for so long and being with the same company for so long. I mean, even the biggest top earners I know.
Loyal.
Hey, loyalty is a beautiful thing. I wish more people were like that. So you guys are just such a great example.
And I always feel like, I mean, you kind of was touched on this, but I feel like if it's gotta be ground floor, which, as you said, I mean, I think 90% of those aren't going to last anyway. And residuals only residual as long as the company stays in business or doesn't go affiliate on you. But if that's the only great opportunity, then how am I selling that as a great opportunity? How is anyone 5 years later, 10 years later? Like, how do you do that? And, I mean, we're having people come on, like even today, matter of fact, even in like March, we had a gal come on just this past March of what, 3, 4, 5 months ago. And by her second month was able to quit her full-time job. I mean, multiple $1,000 residual income by her second month. So it's like, no, this is not something that has to be ground floor. Now we're at the 66-year mark and it's still as good as it likely, I mean, ever was, in my opinion.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about you guys coming back into the business. You primarily drove that initial wave of growth through customers. You come back in, you launch your business part-time, and in a pretty short period of time, you're making really good money. Like, what specifically did you guys do to grow that business? What were you doing it on social? Were you making calls? Were you doing meetings? And I also want to know, like, because again, I don't get an opportunity to interview couples that are in the business together. So I'd also kind of like to know, like, do you guys both play the same role? Is one a front person, the other support does the training and all of that? Or like, so if you can kind of like describe for my audience, like how you guys did that initial wave of growth, and then we can get into some other building philosophies.
Yeah. So back then, how we built, we pretty much did anything and everything that we could. Social media was just getting popular back then. So we did a little bit of social media, not like we do now. We do a lot more because we know the power of it. Back then I wrapped my vehicle. That was popular back then. We took our business anywhere and everywhere. So if I was at the grocery store, at the post office, the gym, I mean, we were always sharing, always talking to people. We were doing meetings each week. We were doing monthly meetings that our
Like in
team
homes.
could invite people to. And granted, we lived in a small town of what,
2,500 people,
and
about an
that's
hour drive
really-
from a Walmart. Like,
yeah, so
it was remote.
Wow.
there wasn't that many people, right? And that's where we started building again, which is unbelievable. But I think it's because too, a lot of people, that was another thing. It was the poorest town. We lived in the state of Washington. I don't know if you knew that, but it was the poorest town in the whole state. And so a lot of people
Wow.
are like, how did you build in this small town where people didn't have a lot of money? But we had this referral program that we still have today, where people get free product. And so that helped a lot because everyone's like, I can afford free. But yeah, so we were, I mean, doing anything and everything, Christmas parties,
Booths. We do vendor booths at local
mean,
fairs or
yeah.
road races. I mean, literally anything and everything to
Yeah.
have conversations with
Yeah.
people.
And it's so funny because one question Allan asked me when we first got into this business, he's like, Nicole, I need you for 5 years, 5 years. And I was, homeschooling 6 kids. And I'm like, okay, I could do it. I could do it for 5 years, but he got me. And now
Not
I'm
supportive,
just laughing. Yeah.
not supported for 5 years, Todd. We're talking, let's link arms together. I know you're my secret
Focus.
weapon.
Oh.
You have strengths I don't have. I have strengths you don't have. We're complement each other really well. Let's do this. I need 5
Yeah.
years. And yeah.
So we were just focused. I mean, we're both college, we were both college athletes. So we're go-getters, but had the blinders on and like, let's do this. Got rid of TV, anything that was going to waste our time. We, threw out the door, and we're just like, we're going to focus on this. And this is what we're going to do every day. And I feel like that's why we were so successful.
For sure. And belief.
Yeah, you were like
Beliefs.
no stone unturned, right? Like you're doing anything and everything, which like it's so crazy. Like today I see people, and I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it as long as it's working. I mean, I'll see people do primarily or only social media. I mean, you got to still talk to people, but I've always been of the philosophy. It's like, do whatever you can to build your business as long as it's legal, ethical, moral, and it's going to help you grow your business. So do you guys still, I mean, are you still doing multiple methodologies, or have you moved to a single way, or have you limited it down to a few ways that you guys build?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've gone through as probably the whole industry has to some degree, we've gone through some transitions. So we went from, online and offline, but really more offline than online in those early years, as we kind of described, in homes, doing booths, all the things, and one-on-ones, whatever, to more online. So we had just before COVID, we had switched to pretty much, I mean, we hadn't done, we went years without getting in anyone's living room. I mean, it was Zoom. Even before COVID forced that, we were probably a year ahead of COVID going to Zoom, hitting social media heavier, embracing the ATM system. And that's where we were putting most of our focus right there in those three things. But now this last year, I would say, just with everything changing so much, we've gone back to what has always worked and hanging on to a lot more social media and Zoom than we ever had before, because we had next to none of that in the early years, and kind of going more of a 50-50. Like, we're going to be traveling. We're going to be in Tulsa next week. We'll be in Tampa the next week. Like, we're hitting the road again and actually enjoying it.
So when you say hitting the road, are you going to do large meetings? Are you going to some of your top reps' homes? Like, what does that entail exactly?
Smaller events in some of our up and coming new legs that we're building's homes is what we're doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, these are going to be events that are going to have, they'll have anywhere from, 10 to 40 people, but we'll be there for 24 hours. We'll do some training. We'll do a presentation. We'll do some one-on-ones, instill some belief and vision into some people and move on. And we get to do it together.
Cool. And you guys always go out together. Now, are your kids all out of the house, or what's your scenario now?
Yeah, so we're down to 2 children in the home, and soon to be only 1. So our youngest is a senior in high school, so she'll be going off to college here soon, and then it'll probably just be us, empty nesters, and we're okay with that.
Pretty excited
We're
about.
actually really excited. I know most couples are like, "Oh, what am I going to do?" We're just like, we know what we're going to do.
That's right.
So we're pretty excited about that. But what was your question again?
Just like what are you guys doing when you're going to these meetings?
yeah.
So you're always going to get, so you guys are, it's not like Allan's going out on the road for 6 weeks and then coming home. You guys are going out as a couple.
Yes, yes.
And we will divide and conquer like that when needed. And we did that a lot in the past when she was, when the kids were younger, never 6, 7, 8 years ago, I would be more taking trips. And sometimes together. Now we're able to do it mostly together, which is a whole lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like
for
this
sure,
week,
for sure.
this Friday, I'm hosting a women's event in my home, and there's going to be lots of ladies here. So that's something I'm going to be doing on my own without him, but that's okay.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I think it's
sometimes we
just so
work together.
cool that you guys, just are like to me, like the fundamentals never change. Like this, like I know we're across the country from one another, but we're eyeball to eyeball. You create a real connection versus like I'm sending you a message and you're sending me a message, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great way to start a conversation. But I've always been of the belief it's like, let's get this. Let me hop on the phone, and if you're within reasonable driving distance, I'm gonna come and see you. But like, it's so funny, like the online marketers of the world. You guys are marketers, so you understand this. Like, marketers feast on the fears of people, and you take a wound and you open it up and you salt it and you put vinegar in it and you like make sure that they can clearly see what their fear is. And then we're like, hey, we got the solution. You don't ever have to talk to anybody. You can sit on your butt and make money and just watch your TV and the checks come rolling in. But we all know that that's not the reality of building a successful network marketing organization, let alone creating any kind of culture within an organization. You have no culture if it's just solely, DMing people back and forth.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the culture that's sticky. And that's the thing. It's like, it's one thing, sure, you can go make some money doing online marketing, but it's not sticky. And you just nailed it, Todd, it's the culture that's sticky. It's relationships that are the glue. And so even though we are doing a lot of DMing, it's always when the interest level, the goal is always, can we get it to a phone call? Can we get it to a Zoom? can we get it to in person if they're local, which they're usually not, but if they are, great. So yeah, it's a great point. We're definitely doing that for sure.
What is the primary presentation mechanism? You mentioned Zoom a couple times. If you're to look at a percentage of people that enroll into our company as reps, is it through a live weekly Zoom, daily Zoom, a recorded video, something that's a video that's texted? Like, what's that process that you like? If you're going to show me, like, we live across the country, and you're like, I'm open, and you're going to show me your business, like, how are you going to show it to me from afar?
Typically, if you're looking at the business, it's going to be a 9-minute video,
Wow.
just as the initial contact point.
Is that something you guys produce or the company did?
We produced it. I mean,
Okay.
we produced it professionally. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that's, I mean, you guys obviously have the budget to do that, where you can bring in, like, a great video person, somebody who edits, somebody who can do all the right things. And from my experience, most network marketing companies, even to this day, they generally aren't providing the tool. They provide tools, but and I don't know if this is different, but like, every company I've ever built, it's like, we created the presentation, even if it was just like a recorded Zoom or a recorded webinar or a recorded conference call. So have you guys always done your own presentations that you're delivering to your audience, or have you, and this is nothing bad on the company. I mean, the company's responsibility is to pay the checks on time, ship the products. I mean, I think sometimes people have higher expectations of what a network marketing company is supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to do it all for me, and then I could just plug in. No, deliver the products, be cool to my customers. If there's a problem, reship it, pay the checks on time every single time, make sure that they're accurate, and just be cool in general, right? Be a good company. So we're the marketing arm. So have you guys always felt like, we're gonna take the role here and the responsibility of making sure that we're delivering the message that needs to be delivered to get people on board?
Yeah. The company's
for
always had
sure.
something, but
Yeah.
we've always wanted something better.
Yeah.
So we've created it ourselves. So we've just hired, production companies to make a couple 6-minute videos that we would use if somebody's interested in the products we'd send. We've got a 30-minute recorded webinar that we do, presentation we do, that we could send if somebody wants a deeper dive into the, science behind the products and the benefits of the products. We've got the 9-minute business video that we professionally produce if someone's interested in the business. And then we also do like 30-minute Zooms on just the business opportunity Zooms as well. But if I was just going to initially expose you to the business because you were open, I'm going to send you a 9-minute video. But we've always,
Okay.
those are all things we've done and that we've produced and made. And I agree with you. I mean, as long as the company keeps the quality of the products and the integrity there and ships on time and writes our checks, man, I'm happy clam. We can do the rest.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, we are the marketing arm, right? I mean, that's, it's a cooperative relationship, but no, that's super cool. So what, when it comes to support, like, real quick, so providing team support, like, how are you guys providing team support? Is that a Facebook group? Is it a team website? Like, how do you, and we can talk about onboarding too, but like, okay, I'm new. What do I do? Like, in fact, let's start there. Like, what is your process of onboarding a business builder? Let's just focus on business for a second. I know you guys sell a ton of product, but I'm interested in making more money. I'm stressed out and not making enough cash, whatever it is. And I'm in this open position. I look at your video or Zoom or webinar. Okay, I'm in, and I'm eager, and I'm hungry, and I'm leaning in. And now what are the steps that you would take me through, and how do you go through those steps?
Yeah. So first we'd get you on a Zoom. First we would do that. And sometimes it's separate, sometimes it's together, both of us. And then we just go through questions that we have. We also have a Facebook group that we plug you into. And then we have a boards app that has, everything on there to get someone started in the right direction. And I don't know if you want to add to that, but it's super easy.
Yeah, we've just really, we've overcomplicated everything, Todd, and we
In the past,
yeah,
not
and
now.
so
Now it's duplicatable.
truly, it wasn't until about just a year ago that we're like, hey, if we're really going to hit some of our goals, because we've got some big goals, we've got some big goals when we started 9 years ago, and those goals haven't changed. If we're going to, and we're still a long way from some of those really big, hairy goals, like being one of the top 10 companies in the industry, and I could go on, like that's some big goals, right? Multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
company. That's big goals. So if that's going to happen, we've got some work to do anyway. So we realize the only way that happens is if we simplify. Any person can make it complicated, and most of us easily do that. So we went back about a year ago. We just challenged ourselves. How can we streamline this thing? And I'm going to tell you what, I know, I'm sure you're familiar with it, but we took that boards app, and which seemed, I've been using it for years, but it was confusing and messy, and we just cut, simple. So the new person comes in and it says, step 1, step 2, step 3.
So
Okay,
easy.
I can do that. And so that's number 1, and they get connected, plugged in, and they get their foundation. Like Nicole said, we get them on an onboarding Zoom call within 72 hours, just as soon as we can schedule it with them. And that's a 20-30 minute Zoom call, get them oriented, make sure they're lined out, they're plugged in, they're set up, they know the basics, and where to find the tools and everything.
And find out what their goals are.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
And even that is in the
Yeah.
boards app. The checklist of the welcome call is in the boards app. It's like, got a new promoter, or just, we call them promoters, but distributor. What do? Click here. Okay, here you go. You welcome them. You schedule the Zoom call. Here's the questions you ask them. Like,
It's easy.
and someone doesn't have to follow it, but anybody can follow it. And then we really work hard to try to get them to do their first event within the next week or 2 at the latest, like a live or a Zoom launch event. Typically, if they're local, you want to do it in your living room, let's go. But that's just not the case most of the time, because we're recruiting from all around the country. In fact, now I think our business is in probably 12 countries at this point. But anyway, so yeah, so we're doing a launch event, and like I'm doing one tonight at 7 p.m. for a promoter that joined us two weeks ago. And they're inviting to the Zoom. We're going to present, and it's going to be great. And it's going to get them a quick win right off the bat, get them, a check in the first, pay period. And that's that's the beginning.
Cool. So okay, this is great. So you have a very simple process. You guys backed up, looked at it. I mean, it was simple for you, right? Because you built it like the board's saying, right? And you're like, okay, let me take a step back and let's bring it down, narrow it down. So now you get it all streamlined, simplified, which is super important for you guys that are watching and listening. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. There's no duplication when you've got, confusion and complexity. So, and then when it comes to the initial, and again, majority of the time, probably for most people, you're gonna be launching somebody from, even if it's 4 hours away, it's still, I'm probably not gonna drive. I mean, I might drive to your house 4 hours away, but if you're in the neighborhood or in, across town, for sure, I'll come over to your house and do that. So you're doing, majority of your launches are done through Zoom. I'm your new guy. We've walked through the boards app, got me all set up. We've had a meeting where we're sitting down, like, what are my objectives? What do I want to accomplish? How much time am I willing to commit? And we're getting to know each other, and we're getting all on the same page. And then, okay, now, like, I want to launch. Like, what are the like language points? Like, I've never done network marketing before. I mean, obviously you guys, have done well at this, and I'm going to take your guidance. I'm going to be totally coachable. Like, what do I say to these people? Like, I'm going to bring Zoom. I've barely even used Zoom. I mean, think about that too, but I'm sure you got some people like Zoom. I mean, believe it or not, there's people like, I had a guy the other day, a friend of mine, he's like, what's Zoom? I'm like, bro, I mean, I live on Zoom, right? But there are people that don't use it unless you're in business, probably. So what are you teaching me to say? What am I going to say to invite these people? And is that included in your training? Like, what to say? Am I inviting to say, hey, I've got these cool products, or am I leading with, hey, I'm launching this new business? I'm curious how you launch a new business builder.
Yeah. We're initially, most people, we have that conversation. People are going to have the most success inviting to what they're most passionate and excited about. And I always say that too. Use the tool that you are excited to invite people to, because if you don't have belief and passion and enthusiasm, why would you expect anybody else to? So most people have an easier time, at least in our business and experience, is inviting to the product to learn about the product as opposed to learning about the business. So that's usually how it goes. in the boards app, when we say we made it simple, like it is simple. There's a sample invite in there, how to invite to their launch. It's all spelled out for them. I don't think there's anything that they would, I mean, we still have to walk people through it. We still have to hold their hand, but we at least have somewhere to point to for those questions like you're talking about. This is how you invite. Put your own flavor on it. Don't just copy and paste. Like, bring you to the conversation, but here's some key points that you want to probably consider hitting that are proven to help you get some people's interest in showing up. We're also just walking them through the whole, even for the launch event, we're saying, hey, every yes you get, or every maybe, or I might, or I'll try, any of those, get them in a group chat with us. And we use group chats hard
On
and
Facebook.
heavy.
Yeah.
On Facebook Messenger or
Yep.
whatever platform they
Yeah.
can use,
It
but
works
we ask
well.
for Messenger because there's a lot of reasons we prefer that over WhatsApp or text or whatever else. But yeah, so that's huge too. And that's another newer thing that we didn't used to ask people to do. And we're already building relationships with their potential guests. Before the event even comes, the odds of them
Yeah.
showing up goes way
Yeah.
up when they get to see real people, real
powerful.
pictures, real posts, and we have real dialogue in chat. So I don't know if that answers thoroughly your question, but
No, it
anything-
does. And that's interesting because just like whoever's watching, I don't know if you catch every one of my episodes, but a couple of episodes back, I had a conversation with John Melton, who also, does a lot with ATM. And we had this conversation around like the power of a group chat is so amazing. Like think about the days like way back in the day, right? When we had to do just three-way calls. Now, I still do three-way calls, even, with me speaking, I'm getting on the phone with the top distributor, they three-way with me and with an owner, for example. But, but that's just, that happens there and then, right? And it's like, okay, first of all, are you free? Like, let's say you're in my upline, I'm trying to get you on a three-way call. You may or you may not be available. With text messaging, I can like fire off you a text and say, hey, Nicole, are you free I got this girl on the phone that's taking a look at the business. But with like Facebook chat, like the power of that is, number one, you can put multiple people in there and they don't all have to be present. And it kind of like continues to live on as long as that group's there. So there can be testimonials put in there. There can be stories shared. You can get to know somebody. They can pop out. They can come back there the next day. So, I mean, I can understand why that has become such a, powerful element in really third-party validation, faith, trust, confidence in the people that you're kind of getting to know. And I think the decision-making process for the prospect, it's like, wait, it's not just me and my bro that I, used to party with back in the day. It's like, look at all these other cool people that are in this little group chat. And then I can go scope you out too. Like, oh, because I mean, what like first, I don't know about you, but first, as soon as I get thrown into a group chat, I'm like, click,
Who's
view
this?
profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
And
is
then I'm
it?
like scrolling through, I'm like, wow, well, and you can kind of see the lifestyle. It's not, whatever. You can just see how that person is living and what kind of human beings there are. And then I can kind of more decide. I think it's definitely more powerful than just a three-way call. I mean, three-way calls, I don't think they're ever going to go away, but the ability to do a deeper dive and like, because I spy on people. Like I hired a guy to do some work on my house. First thing I did is Google the dude.
Sure.
And I find out he's like, got busted and arrested for like stealing, I don't know, some pharmaceutical drug out of somebody's house. I still hired the guy, interestingly enough, because he came with great reviews and everybody we all make mistakes, and he was recovering from his mistake. But that's the first thing people do. And with that group chat, you can go look at the prospect too, like the upline. You're the expert upline. I'm like, oh, who's this person I'm being introduced to? And I don't know. There's
power.
and universally, and I can understand why you probably use that more than WhatsApp. I mean, I use WhatsApp, I use Telegram. Those are probably the two primary communication channels outside of texting. But I mean, pretty much the whole world's on Facebook.
Yeah, for sure. And Nicole recruited a rock star gal from Vegas yesterday. And even when we were describing the three-way chat or group chat, whatever you want to call it, three-way message to her, she's like, oh, that's awesome. And I can even see how you respond to my prospects and learn from you. Like she could even
Yeah,
foresee
she's smart enough
that
to know.
benefit to it. And yes, you can on a three-way call too. But if you can all three connect at the same time, like you said, but there's no recording of that, they can go back to and go, how did Nicole handle that objection? How did
Yep.
she handle this?
So
So
they're learning.
they're so powerful. In fact, a couple months ago, she onboarded this gal, and literally how many you did, what, like 100? I think this gal put her in 100 group
A lot.
chats in the month.
Wow.
This gal, she was
130.
tracking her number. She had
151, I think. Isn't it?
151,
Wow.
151.
something
Yeah.
like that. Well, but
I
the
was
girl,
working hard.
but she
It just-
recruited about 30 people that month. So
Yeah.
I mean, super effective,
It
super
was-
effective.
Yeah. Well, that's the one that quit her job. She was able to quit her
And-
job in 2 months.
And the other
Yeah.
thing too is, back to Boards app, we've got our audio messages, our couple minute audio messages down. We've got our written text down, saved in folders in
Yeah,
Boards. So
Beautiful.
with a couple clicks, we can send a
Goes
2-minute
fast.
audio, and we don't
Yeah.
have to sit there and spend our time. And we've got it where we can scale and leverage and support our team, putting us in, hundreds of chats a month. We can handle it because it's not hours and hours of work a month, which is really nice.
I'm sure you love that after doing 10 hours a day of like customer service.
Yes, and I
Yes.
can do it out from the boat and while we're doing whatever,
It's
wherever we are,
wonderful.
right? We can just do it because we live on a
And
lake
he's
and
so sweet. If I get really busy, like, and it's going to happen with this girl from Vegas. She goes, Nicole, get ready. Cause supposedly she's TikTok famous. She's like, get ready for a lot of 3-way messages, but he's such a great husband. He'll like help cook. If he sees me busy, it's like, okay. I'm like, this is awesome.
hey, whatever it takes.
I'll help
We're a
you do
team.
this.
No, and you guys are literally like, I mean, like just based on the conversation we're having so far, like there's no front person and back person. It's like you guys are both driving and building. I'm curious, like, because we know marriage is like so easy all the time. You never fight,
Oh,
you never
yeah.
argue, you never have any disagreements. Like, are there like, how do I want to phrase this? Like, are there any? What are the challenges if there are any? I mean, I know you guys are very happily married. You got an amazing family, you've been together forever. But even with all that, there's times where we just disagree or we bump. Like I can't be in the kitchen at the same time as Carla if she's like running around trying to do something. I literally go, I get out of the kitchen. But do you? What experiences or challenges have you had in working together, if any, that you've had to like overcome or kind of work through?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I have to be honest, my mindset wasn't right. I didn't have the belief in myself. I had a lot of fear. And I didn't understand consistency and all that and follow up. I sucked at. And so I've gotten better at that just by, self-development and all that. And that's why I love this business because I have grown so much. And I remember coming across like it was something I read. I don't know if it was on social media or whatever, but I don't know if you're familiar with the Clydesdale horse. Like they're
I am,
massive,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, the
And they can
Budweiser horse.
pull. Yes,
right,
yeah.
they're beautiful. I've ridden one before. My girlfriend had one,
Wow.
and oh my goodness, they are just so massive. And you get on top of that thing, it's just like, oh my goodness, it's so powerful. But they can pull like 8,000 pounds, right? That's a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then if you take 2 of them, if they're pulling like a wagon or whatever, and if you take 2 of them, you would think they would pull 16,000, right? Pounds, that would make sense, but actually
Yeah.
times 3. So 24,000 pounds.
Wow.
And then if they're, working hard and laboring together and they're doing this consistently, then guess what? They could pull 4 times that. And so that like really hit me. I remember reading that like a long time ago somewhere. And I'm like, okay, this guy needs me. He obviously is the driver in this business, but I'm pretty competitive. And I'm like, I got to be up there with them, And so I knew like, I had my aha moment, like, well, then I got to change. My belief has to change. Like he would throw me up on stage, him and his best friend, and I hated both of them. I'm like, because I had so much fear. I was so scared to speak or just to, call someone. And so I knew that, I had to change, if we wanted to be a powerful couple together. And, I'm still growing. We're all growing. He's still growing. And that's what I love about this business, because I can look back and go, wow, I've come a long way, so I think that's what helped us. And he has been such a incredible encourager, and really had belief in me. Belief is huge, to believe in your spouse or, even your
Team, yeah.
teammates, on your team. And that is something I love to do. That's my passion, to believe in our team, because it's amazing when you believe in that person, whew, they could skyrocket.
Yeah, that's
So,
Nicole, one of Nicole's superpowers
yeah.
is believing and encouraging people in our team and myself. And it's a benefit I get to receive as her husband too. But, and I've watched
Yeah.
people that didn't believe in themselves start believing because Nicole believed in them, or I believed in them, or we believed in them, or whatever. It's so powerful. But to answer your question too, Todd, or just to add on to that, is we are in this to win it together. We're both rowing in the boat,
Yeah.
full steam ahead. We do both do anything and everything in the business. However, we do kind of specialize as much as we're able to. And the way we do that is I would prefer to train and talk about the business. And I can go, I mean, 24 years using our products. I know the science. I can talk product as well, probably as she can, as she could probably talk the business as well as I can. We both know it, but we both enjoy different aspects of it more. I
Yeah,
enjoy the
of
business.
course.
She
Yeah.
enjoys the products more than the other. And so that's how we kind of divide. I do a lot more training than she does in the business context, although she trains. And she does more product kind of talking and training. So following up with customers and things like that, I'm going to kind of steer as much as I can, delegate to her. A lot of the onboarding calls and a lot of the business training stuff, she's going to delegate to me. Although depending on availability, we'll both do either. That's how we work
Yeah,
together.
that's like that Clydesdale example, right? And for you guys that are watching, listening, like I've always been the builder, right? My wife is fully supportive. Early on in my network marketing career, she thought I was in a pyramid scheme because her brothers legitimately did pyramid schemes. Like that's all they did. She's like, "You're gonna go to jail. I don't know if I can do this." And this is way early on before we were married. I remember she came in one day and she was like crying. She's like, "I don't know if I can do this because you're gonna go to jail. My brothers did these things." And I was like, we weren't commingling funds at that point. I had a check that was sitting in my desk for like a week and a half. That was like $3,000 or something. And this was part-time. And I was like, "Look, honey, this is why I'm doing this." And I showed her the check and she grabs it. She's like, "Is that real?" I'm like, "You have it in your hands." And she's like, "Can I quit my job?" I'm like, "No, not yet." But I mean, if like, this is what I'm doing. I even told her, I was like, "Look, I'm doing network marketing and I really would love your support, but this is what I'm doing." So I mean, I didn't say get used to it, but I was like, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. And at some point, I mean, she's always been a stay-at-home mom, and we were talking about it last night. She like loves the fact that she's been able to be at home with the kids, but at the same time, she hasn't been the spouse that's like nagging, "Why are you spending time away from me?" Or I've always had like full support. So for you guys that are watching, where it's either one person that's doing it, I mean, eliciting the support of your spouse is so vital. They need to go along, and they don't necessarily need to do the business with you, but I mean, if they do, and you guys figure out that game together, like you said, Nicole, like it's like the two Clydesdales, it's like you have the multiplying effect. You have way more. It's not the power of two people. It's like it's really almost the same thing as like the power of a mastermind. It's not two minds. It's this greater mind that's created as a result of two people working together. So just like just a little point for you guys, like if get your spouse on board. And one way to, I guess, get the spouse on board in some cases is bust your tail and get out there and earn some money, because they're like, does this deal even work? And once they see like once she saw that check, she's like, "I'm
Yeah.
all in, man." She was never, there was never a negative thing ever said about
We've
network
seen that
marketing.
so much.
Yeah, we have.
We've
Oh,
seen
man.
that time and
It's
time
so
again.
fun.
The spouse
Yeah.
that's like arms crossed, I don't know about this, as soon as the checks
Yeah.
start rolling, and they don't even have to be that big.
No,
Oftentimes
no.
they could just be a few $100, and then they see it's real. Now a few $1,000, that's better, but that's what we've time and time
Yeah.
again. Thing I'd say is get to events. I mean, we host team retreats for our
that
team. We've done this, well, the whole 9 years. Spring and fall, they're 3-day events. We have, I don't know, a couple hundred people will travel across the country to come in for 3 days. And those are really powerful for culture. You mentioned culture, and people get to people will bring their spouse that they'll come in with their arms crossed and leave, thinking they just met 200 of their best friends. Like that's pretty powerful too.
Yeah.
Or company conventions and things
Yeah.
like that. We've seen that be game changers.
Yeah. And one thing I just want to say to encourage those that don't have a supportive spouse, or maybe they're a single mom, is, you have your upline, sideline, downline. We have people on our team, like single moms, that will get someone that's, on a completely different team, and then they'll do things together. And they're so much more powerful that way.
That's a
So,
great point.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how single moms do it. I've worked with a lot of single moms that have got 3, 4, 5 kids. And I mean, like if I'm with my kids, well, now they're like 17 and 20. So I barely even, they're gone or whatever. They're driving their own cars. But man, like you holding the baby in one hand, holding the phone in another, oh, I got one kid screaming. And it's like, I don't know if you guys, hopefully it's not coming through on the mic, but I was like, oh, the house cleaners are here today. Right. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not in a recording studio. I'm up in my office, but my chihuahua is downstairs barking at the house cleaner. So I don't know. You guys, it's so cool to see first of all, number one, like couples staying together. I mean, not totally outside of business, like that to me is just so amazing to raise a family. To me, like family is priority number one. And I love seeing like happily married, successful couples. That's, not the business side of the equation. Of course, that's great too, but just, succeeding as couples. And you guys are a prime example of that. I want to go back really quickly on something. Because you talked about this woman that you launched or you found in Las Vegas, like today, like what, like in terms of like what's working now, we've covered some of that, but like, what are you guys doing? Because obviously you're still recruiting, which is another, by the way, they've been in the business for a long time. We're not going to talk about incomes or anything, but they have a massive organization. They're doing incredibly well financially, but they're still in recruiting mode. They're not in management mode, sitting back, watching other people do their stuff. I mean, you guys are leading by example. When it comes to, for you guys today, in terms of like where you're finding people, where you're finding your prospects, like this woman in Vegas, for example, like you've met some way, somehow, where are you creating these new relationships and meeting new people to, find new leads, new prospects?
You want me to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
We were talking about this just the other day, and probably what percent do you think is online? 80%?
Yeah, 80%. That's what I was going to say. 8 out of 10.
Yeah. So yeah, a significant 80%. Let's go with that we are meeting through social media. And the other,
when you say social media, are you saying Facebook explicitly or multiple platforms?
Instagram. We do Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, but and X and all the things, but primarily we're using Facebook and Instagram. That's where we're really at most of the time, and through both of those platforms. I mean, probably more Instagram than even Facebook at this point, but both for sure. And then the other 20% is just everywhere else. I mean, we happened to be in Vegas for our annual convention a couple of weeks ago, but I mean, we're meeting people at the gym that we've recruited. We're a part of 3 different gyms, depends on the day, how we feel, where we want to go. So we go to 3 different gyms. I mean, wherever we recruited people from church, just we build relationships. We listen well, we listen for needs. And when there's needs that we hear, we offer solutions. And we always say our company's not the solution to everything, but it is the solution to many things, because many people's needs are health related, income related, community related, or purpose and meaning and passion related, because most people don't have that in their day job.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Can we focus on just Instagram for a second? When it comes, like, when you're generating leads or meeting new people on Instagram, are you like, what kind of posts are you doing? Like, is it lifestyle posts? Like, what are you, here's a picture of the product, and here's like, what are you doing on Instagram that's generating the most curiosity and causing the engagement so that you end up making these connections? And I'm assuming at some point you end up DMing a person, unless they're DMing you, but I'm assuming that you guys are purposeful and intentional, and somebody says something, comments, likes, whatever. Like what's the overall or the general strategy with what you guys are doing specifically on Instagram?
It's both. definitely both as far as products and lifestyle. It seems like lifestyle, we get a
Probably the
lot.
most
Yeah,
lifestyle, I would say.
lifestyle would be,
Yeah.
yeah. People are watching us. They love our marriage and the love we have. So that's been
Yeah.
huge lifestyle.
And we're doing
Right.
some curiosity posts and some different, marketing
Yeah.
things like that, that create DMs in our inbox, that create comments that we get to go have conversation with on Messenger. And we're also, there's just so many people, we're doing a lot of stuff in our stories. And so even more in our stories, and in our stories, we're going in there and we're oftentimes engaged. It's working both ways, 50-50. We'll do polls, we'll do things to get them to engage and answer questions on stories, which then there's our lead list, and we're going to Messenger to follow up on those. But equally as much is just reaching out to people on that we see in our stories, depending on the story and the context of the story, and how many stories they hung in there and watched, and how often we keep seeing their name pop up over and over and over again. And we just go start conversations, and we just try to learn about them and what they do and what they like and what drives them. And just being a real friend, a real human being. And we just, and listening, being intentional, listening for the need. We're not just going and spamming anybody, but it's like when there's an opportunity, well, can I give you a quick example?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So on my stories, there's a realtor we bought one of our investment properties from 4 years ago. I connected with her on Facebook. Never met her in my life. She didn't represent us. She represented the seller, but we bought it through her company. And I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to connect with anybody I can that, on social media, right? Because we need to do that. So I connected with her. I've never met her. 4 years later, I've never met her. She's so good on social media.
so
She's a
good.
trainer, real estate trainer, travels all over the country now, training realtors. And so she put a story up and she's talking in the camera. I'm like, man, I'm reminded, man, this girl's so good. That's exactly the kind of person we would love to have on our team. So I DM her right from her story. Hey, Brooke, you're awesome. Sincere compliment from my heart. Like, you're awesome. You are killing it. I don't know if you're open at all or not, but I would love to have someone like you in Nicole and my team. Do you at all keep your options open? Your script, Todd. It's your script.
Yeah.
Do you keep an open mind to other income sources or other income streams? I would have said something like that. She said, yeah, whatever. I send her the 9-minute video. It took follow up. She watched it and I had to follow up because she didn't get back with me, but I followed up the next day and she said, did you watch it? What'd you like best? Yeah. You know what I did? This could be perfect. She goes, I just started a health journey last week. I've got 15 pounds I want to lose. I'm ready to get healthy. She's probably pushing she's in her 30s. I don't know, maybe mid to late 30s. It's time to get healthy. And the timing couldn't be better. And I thought to myself, I didn't spam her. I complimented her and just asked if she was open, and had out of the blue. How would I know if she is unless I asked? And had I not asked that, where would she be right now? Where she is right now is she's a distributor and our team hasn't even got her product. Oh yeah, her product just showed up yesterday, and is already posting on social media and telling the story and creating curiosity, and hasn't even done the unboxing yet. Like, I'm like, all I had to do was ask and get a few no's in the process. Big deal.
Isn't that amazing? It's like, wow, all you got to do is ask and you shall receive, right? And people
Exactly.
they don't even understand the power of it. It's like, if you never ask, you're never going to get. It's simple as that. You might get the crumbs, but you're not going to get anything significant. And the fact that you just took the time and it wasn't spammy, you legitimately gave her a real compliment. And obviously she's doing something super cool that you're like, oh my gosh, you're awesome. You're amazing. Like, do you keep your options open at all in terms of making money outside of what you're currently doing? And she was open. And had you not asked the question, who knows? She wouldn't be on your team, that's for sure.
And how
And
many
now she's
other
beginning
people are
this-
following
this-
her? She's got 10,000
Yeah,
followers on Instagram. How many network marketers are following her and just didn't ask because we didn't do anything special? Pretty cool.
Oh, you did do something special. You reached out to her. And that is,
Yeah,
you think about it, I've run accountability programs, as you know, every quarter, and it's mind-boggling to me, how little people do in terms of actually doing the revenue producing activities. I got a kind of a random question. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So, Allan, when it comes to posting on Facebook or Instagram, do you get more or less likes, comments, and shares if it's just you versus you and Nicole?
Oh, that's an easy question. I mean, easy answer. I want her in the screen every day, all day. Why do you think she's on this interview? She had so many other
Oh
things.
my gosh.
You cancel
You're making-
everything. You are going to be
You're
on the
making my
spot.
eyes water because it's like, I know, like, I mean, Nicole, you're absolutely beautiful. My wife is beautiful. And
know
it's just like, I don't even know if it's just, it's not the beauty necessarily, but it's like, they see like Carla in a post. I'm like, there ain't no crickets here, man. It's like every single time. So you're right, man. I just had to ask that question because you're talking about engagement and like you do stuff like you know, you're doing marriage things and people love to see that. Like people love to see you know, a successful relationship. And, you know, in a world where, you know, there's so many broken relationships that just don't work out for whatever reason. And it's like, I aspire to be and have a relationship like those two. And you guys are like such an example. And Carla and I get that all the time. Like we, you know, again, no marriage is and they all have, you know, we all got roadblocks and obstacles and things, but it's like working through that stuff and getting through to the other side. And I'm so grateful that, you know, just as a husband and a man to know that the relationship that I have with my wife and with my children, like we have such a tight family unit. I just wish that for everybody because there's just nothing to me. There's nothing more important than God and family. And you know, congratulations to you guys. I think it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, as much as we want to be, you know, have wealth and financial and time freedom, we want to live relationship rich. I mean, what would all the money, I can't imagine like having all the money and the time and not having, and not being relationship rich. Like that, don't sign me up for that. You know, I'll take this all day.
No, money, we all know money does not buy you happiness. It can make things a lot easier. I mean, there's no question, right? Because I've been broke. You guys are, you know, at a point on food stamps and trying to raise a family. And, you know, and I heard we can't afford it my whole life. Like we didn't have any money growing up. And I just knew when I started my career, it's like, I got to find something where I make good money. It's like, I didn't know what I was going to do. I lucked out by getting, you know, introduced to network marketing literally right out of college. Had no clue what it was, but I'm grateful for it because if it wasn't for that dude, Jim, calling me up from Orange County Marketing Group, asking me to come down to a meeting, I'd have never met you two.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's just crazy.
It's
So,
crazy.
well,
Nicole talks about all the growth, Todd, that she's had, and that's been fun as a spouse to, I mean, it's a blessing to me, man, that she's grown so much and vice versa, right? Because we've both grown together, but
it's painful, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
Yeah.
Well, some pain is good pain, right? I mean,
That's
there's
right.
pain where you're injured. Yeah, it's like the pain after a really good workout that oh man, my muscles. Like the other day I did an ab workout. I haven't really worked on my abs the way I should. And I was like, oh, my abs. And I was like, oh, that's a good pain, right? It's a worthy pain. So as we wrap this up, first of all, I want to say thank you for being here with me today. And it's just Nicole, you and I have had very little interaction. Allan, you and I have had, you know, some, but it's like we don't talk all the time, but so cool to like, you know, get to know and hear your story. And I'm so grateful for you guys being here. Before we split, I'm just curious, like, I got an audience of hungry networkers, right? Nobody listens. Nobody's, by the way, you ain't here like an hour later if you're not hungry. So, you know, these are not short episodes when I do these interviews. So, you know, for people that are in network marketing, my audience is primarily probably 95, 98% network marketers. I get other people that are listening and viewing, but like what like words of wisdom coming from you guys in your many years now of being in the network marketing space, being very successful at it, both in working the business together, would you have for somebody that's like, I really want to win? And if you could like leave with just some words of advice or wisdom for my audience, that would be awesome.
But that's a hard one. There's so much.
Pretty general, but like, you know, like if I had like, let me phrase it a different way. If you had one, you know, quick moment with me and it's like, you can leave me with some impression about like, what's it going to take for me to succeed in network marketing? And you only had this one opportunity to give me some little chunk of something that I would walk away from and go, okay, okay. That's making me think. What would that be?
I would say you've got to be committed. And I kind of mentioned this a minute ago, you know, earlier in our conversation, like you can't try this. You can't try marriage and expect it to work out. You know, you can't try a lot of things. You have to be all in, and all in may be an hour a day, but it's all in here in your head and in your heart. You've got to be all in. You've got to be committed. You have to create. This is something I was sharing with our team on our team call last night. I believe it is something we did early on 9 years ago. We created a vision. People always talk about your why. Well, that's true, but we created a vision of who we wanted to become. Like, what is the person we want to become? It's not just income. That's part of it. That is part of it. But like, who is that person you want to become? What is that life you want to create? Who are the lives you want to impact? Like, and visualize that. And if you're all in and you're committed and you can visualize where you're going to end up, and then when you get there, you create a new vision, because we're all either growing or dying. So we're never there, right? But you create that vision. And we did this. We created we visualize, hey, we're 7-figure a month income earners. And this is, and I won't go all into it, but the vision around that, the lives that represents, that those dollars represent lives. And like you said, people that we're going to meet that we would have never known otherwise, and so on and so forth. And I would visualize myself already there. And then when the rejection or the insecurities or the fear, whatever, these things that could be mountains and paralyze you now while you're just starting out and on the journey, they become almost, I'm not going to say they're nothing, because they are something. We have to deal with our emotions. We have to deal with our feelings, but through the lens of where we're going, it becomes really small and it becomes really doable. And instead of being a roadblock, a mountain that you can't scale, it becomes like a hurdle you just kind of crawl over and you keep going. So I would say, be all in, create a vision that you can focus on, that's going to get you past the, ignorant opinions of other people and the things that could paralyze you. And the last thing, and there's many things like Nicole said, is belief. I mean, why 9 years ago when we jumped in, were we able to have the success we had? It wasn't because we were special. It wasn't because she says social media was new back then. Well, newer, yeah, but 2015, some people had been crushing social media by that point. To us, it was very new, because we had 200 Facebook friends, and we just didn't use it really, and no Instagram. But anyway, all that to say is, what we did have was belief. We believed in the company. We believed in the products. We believed in the comp plan. We believed in what we were doing. We believed it was best for the other person, that they would benefit more than we would benefit by our check growing, that they would benefit more by the products, the community, the business, whatever it is we were bringing them into. So I really believe, and I believe this with all my heart, if someone can't get the belief that what they're doing is really amazing for other people, they're going to have a hard time having success. And so those would be the 3 things I would tell any new person: be all in, create a vision for where you're going, and focus on that. It'll get you through the hard, and do whatever you have to do to get your belief where it's bulletproof. And there's a whole nother training probably on how do you get your belief where it's bulletproof, but at least
Sure.
being aware I've got to get there, because I can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out of my belief, or it's going to come through in the way I communicate with the prospect.
Yeah, very, very well said. And again,
Mic drop.
yeah, total complete mic drop there, right? The whole thing about vision, right? Because we're gonna have obstacles, you're gonna have walls that you got to jump around, crush down, whatever. But what you just said is so big, that clarity of what your life is going to be like when because it's so much bigger, so much more vividly clear than everything, any of the other stuff. It's like my eye is set on that, oh, here's this negative prospect, here's this person that quit my team, here's this whatever. It really almost makes it insignificant. I understand, like, in the present moment, it might seem like something, but in all reality, when you look back, you're going to be like, seriously, that was nothing.
Yeah.
So,
and Todd, you've been an inspiration too. I got to just say this. You've been a big inspiration to us going back more than 9 years ago, but certain, for many years since we first got introduced, and some of your trainings and stuff that have all just been really, really helpful. But even like when we jump in 9 years ago, a lot of the trainings I heard you do, a lot of your mindset, your posture, in dealing with prospects, the dialing that you would do. I remember whatever you call it, dialing for dollars or whatever, on Mondays at 5 p.m. Wasn't it? Am I remembering right? Like just learning. Yeah, just learning from you. And I would be like, well, if I was a Todd Falcone,
Yeah,
oh,
we were like,
when I'm a Todd
"Wow,
Falcone,
Todd." Yeah.
when I'm an Eric Worre, when I'm a whoever, right? Would I care about this stuff? Do they care about this stuff? No, then why am I worrying about it? Let's go. I mean, it's a big deal.
Well, thank you. I mean, I graciously accept that compliment. And again, congratulations to both of you for all of your success as families, as a married couple in your business. And you guys that are watching, that are listening, I hope you took notes. I hope you paid very close attention. The cool thing is you can go press replay, get your journal out, go back, listen to this, watch this again. And the thing that I always say when I end these is like, look, man, it's cool to like sit here and, soak in all the information, but it's the application of it that makes the biggest difference. So we're putting out value to you that you can go take, that you can utilize, that you can put into your business. Don't just sit on this information, use it. You guys are amazing. I feel honored to have you guys on here. And again, thank you so much for spending so much time with me and my audience today.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much. We
Appreciate it, Todd. It was an honor, man. Thank you, brother.